What's up everybody? In today's video, I'm going to show you the top 9 items that sold in the category of electronics. If this is the first time catching a what sold video of mine, this is how it works. I choose one category per week so that you can focus. That way you become an expert in one category. In this case, it's going to be electronics. If you keep watching these videos week by week, eventually you're going to be able to choose which categories you want to add to your store so that you can make more money. I also answer questions and talk about comments that are left behind in my videos. So if you ever have something to say, leave it in the comments below. If you have a question, leave it in the comments below and it might make it into the video. Okay, before we go on to the sales, I need to talk about this. This thing, it looks like a big ass battery. This is one of my favorite products that I've ever purchased. It's with me now at all times, in the car, in my backpack, because it charges my laptop, it charges my phone. It's a light in case something happens. I can put it outside, like if it's nighttime, to make sure that I'm, trying to fix the car and people can see me. It is solar powered and it has all types of connections. I use this because I'm always out and about, especially when I'm sourcing. If I'm out and about and I have to do something on my computer and I'm running out of battery, there you go. I can charge anything on it. I do recommend it and it's not cheap, but I am going to leave the link below if you want one. Trust me, if you can afford it, get one. I'm also going to leave the link to this. This thing right here is a multi-connector. It has all types of connections, USB-C, lightning power, lightning data transfer, and USB-C micro, or USB micro, whatever it's called. This thing charges pretty much anything and it plugs into a USB. So this is awesome. This combined with the power supply, with this thing, that's all you need. All right, let's get the party started. Here's the first one, Hofner bass guitar, Beatles Rock Band. It's harmonics, no dongle, and it was for the Nintendo Wii. Bought it for $2, sold for $47.95, $24.99 shipping, after fees and everything. I ended up with $27.97 minus the $2 that I paid. I ended up with $25.97. So this thing made less money than I wanted, first off, because I did dynamic ad rate on this. So look at the ad rate. I paid $13 for the ad rate. That is high. That's not normal, but I'm doing a test. I'm running a test on about 25% of my store. And right now I'm going to talk about it because somebody asked the question. But let me keep going. The shipping label was $23. This thing is awkward to ship, but if you know how to do it properly, it doesn't take too long and they always sell. Just make sure that the buttons feel good. And I know that most of you are not going to test them because you don't have all the systems to test. And that's fine. Just put untested and it'll still bring in $50 to $100. If you have the dongle, it's going to bring in more. The dongle is just that little thing that you connect wirelessly to the system or to the back of the guitar. And that's what a dongle is. If you have that, it's going to bring in more money. But don't skip on these. They're not making them anymore. First question, at Miss the Old YouTube, what tier membership do I have to join to get you to flick me off the camera? He's referencing reselling vintage and antique items on eBay, what sold. It was last week's video. Well, first off, I flipped somebody off the camera. I think he meant flip. I flipped somebody off the camera because they were talking shit to me online. And like I said, if it comes from a bad place, we're going to go back and forth. If it comes from a good place and you're talking shit, I always laugh. It's all good. And you can get on any membership, bro. I'll do it for free. No problem. I just thought that was funny. Here we have Rabbits Go Home Adventures video game Nintendo tested. I remember this. I sent a whole bunch of games to a good friend of mine that has all types of systems and he tested everything for me. So thank you very much, Raul, for doing that. I paid $1 for this, sold for $12.99, $5.99 shipping, after fees and everything. I brought home $11.66 minus the $1, $10.66 in profit. This was a bundle of a lot of product from a friend of mine that was moving to El Paso. When I saw that he was moving, he said, man, I have so much stuff. And I told him, well, if you don't want to move with it, like you don't want to take it with you, I'll buy it from you. So we got all the stuff that he didn't want. I looked at it and I said, well, I offer you this much. And he said, no problem. He left me all that product. After I did the math, I ended up paying $1 per item. And look at that, I turned it. So thank you very much, Ever, for all that product, brother. This just goes to show that if you have family and friends that they're moving or they have old stuff in their garage, things that they don't want, reach out to them. They might give it to you, or you can make them a deal. You can tell them, hey, let me just give you some money, whatever. Even if they're going to give it to you for free, let me give you some money, because that will incentivize them to call you again, because they're like, hey, maybe one of these days they're like, I have all this stuff. I could use 30 bucks, 50 bucks. Maybe it'll take us to dinner. Let me call Damien, give him all this stuff, and we have dinner for today. Just a thought. At Edith Nieto 1582 says, hi, my eBay store is slow since I started promoting at 2 to 3%. I was letting them put up their promotion discretion, but I lost a lot of money, so I lowered it. What's your opinion on this? Do you think that they are putting me in a timeout or might be a slow season? I put up my store at 40% off to get rid of dumb stuff. Damn. Okay. So a couple of things. When I'm assuming you were using dynamic ad rate, which I'm testing right now. From what I've heard online from a lot of people, not just me, when you use dynamic ad rate and then you get rid of it and go back to 2 or 3%, they kind of do put you in a timeout. I've seen sales go like this, like a hard dip, and they don't go back up until you go onto a dynamic ad rate. So what I did in my store is that I put 25% of the store on dynamic ad rate so that I can test, so I can tell you guys what is going on. And I can tell you one thing. My sales have increased for sure, but it is very expensive. My margins are like this big on those 25 or on 25% of my store, which sucks that basically I'm doing a lot more work for less money. But if that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. Now, I put up my store 40% off to get rid of dumb stuff. I get that. I get doing that. But instead of doing that, sometimes, look, if it's taking forever and it's still not selling at 40% off, it's just because the shit that you have sucks. Just get rid of it. Take it down, give it away, go give it to charity and write it off, give it to somebody, use it in your house, whatever. Just get rid of it because that will increase your STR quickly on your store. So everything else will start moving faster. Nutri Ninja Pro BL Series 30 blender base 900 watts red. It is very rare to find that red one. That's why I bought it when I bought it. I mean, I bought it for nothing anyways. I paid $4 for it. Sold for $25, $9.99 shipping after fees and everything. I brought it home $17.91. So $13.91 in profit. It sold pretty quickly. The red one is hard to find. The black ones still sell, but they're going to sit there because there's a whole shit ton of listings on the black ones. But you can sell the blades, you can sell the cups, and you can sell the base. So whenever you see them, pick them up. You just have to pick them up at a cheap price because Ninja is now becoming so big that they're everywhere. So don't expect to get $50, $100. Well, depends on the Ninja, but don't expect to get something like this to get that much money. But they do sell, so I do recommend them. Just make sure you test them. Always test it. At Home of My Own says, put those dirty vacuum parts in the dishwasher. They're referencing how to make money on eBay with retail arbitrage. Man, I have to say something because this is the third time that somebody says that. And look, this might be just me being the clean freak that I am, but that is fucking gross. Ugh. I know that the dishwasher is meant to wash everything and then the heat disinfects. I get that, no problem. But it just makes me feel gross and it creeps me out that just putting things there, like things that have caca and hair and nails and all this kind of shit into the dishwasher, just fucking gross. Gross. I don't recommend you do it, but it's definitely a lot faster than what I do. I have to do it by hand. Here we have Sony CD player changer, 5 discs with audio cables, no remote. Tested. And I have a video. Look, if you notice, I said tested video so they can see the video. I paid $16 for it. Sold for $74.94, $29.99 shipping after fees and everything. I brought home $50.45 minus, what is that, $16 that I paid. So I made $34 in profit. That's not what I wanted to bring in, but I had a big ad fee on it. It was $11, and then the shipping label was $33 because it was big. It was so big. But look at also what I did. In the picture, you'll see that there's audio cables. Once you give people the ability to plug and play, like as in, they bought it, they plug the power in, it already has the cables, you plug the cables in, that makes it so much better for them. It makes it easier for you to sell it because it is plug and play. Nobody wants to do shit anymore. They don't want to go to the store and get something. They want everything just done for them. And if you do that, you're going to move it faster. Plus, shoot a video when it comes to expensive items. It does work. Sell it in the video and people will be like, whoa, first of all, he tested it. Second of all, he sold it to me. Let me buy it from him. At Jacqueline Clark 60 says, I went to Walmart and found those Dr. Squatch soaps for $3 a piece. I'm lighting them up and see how they do. Thanks for all you do. Thank you very much, Jacqueline. Jacqueline is part of the Resolutions Posse. I sent out a bolo calling out the Dr. Squatch soaps because they do get marked down often at Walmart, Target. I've seen them at a couple of other places, but Dr. Squatch is very expensive soap. It's good soap because it's all natural, but it's hella expensive. So when they mark it down, they say that you can buy them for $2 or $3. You can sell them for $8. And when you lot them together, you can make good money because there's always people that are trying to save. So instead of buying them for $8 or $9 at the store, you can sell it to them for $6. You double their money. They save money. Everybody wins. Thank you very much for being part of the posse, Jacqueline. Which reminds me, if you guys want to become part of the posse, join down below. There's a $3 level, $5 level, and $25 level. The $25 level has 2 hours with me twice a month. You can ask me whatever you want. That is more of a serious business kind of level. I can do all kinds of shit during that live that I do with people. It's all through keyboard, so I'm live and you're on the keyboard, but it does work. For everybody else, the $3 level and the $5 level, I do call outs, I do motivational videos, I do as much as I can to help you. But what you're essentially doing is helping me run the channel so that we can keep going, so we can all make money together. Next, here we have Hoover battery charger 4, and then it has model numbers. Lithium Life 20 volt rechargeable Li ion. I bought it for $1.50. Sold for $18.95, $8.99 shipping. After fees and everything, I brought home $12.18. So let's just call it $10 in profit. These things sell fast. They either, like, the cords get pulled by kids, dogs chew on them, the cats chew on them. Shit happens to these things. And when you see them, pick them up. Now, it's going to be very hard for you to test them unless you have a voltmeter and you know how to use it. But if not, a lot of the times they don't really go bad. Like when you see them in the store, unless the cord is pulled, these things last forever. You can throw them around and they're perfectly fine. I do recommend chargers. It is a great electronic product to buy all the time because people need them. Shit is getting hard, man. People don't have money. So they replace parts, and that's one of the parts that they replace. Next comment, at Marcus Scott 9800 says, outstanding video. Thank you so much for the blueprint to follow for success. I appreciate you and will implement your plan starting today. Keep up the great work. He is referencing my 7-step plan video that I just shot last week. I lay out 7 things that you can do from here to the end of the year that will make you more money. And it is almost, I can't guarantee it, of course, but it's almost guaranteed because the focus is on STR. If you have items that have a high STR or sell-through rate, that means that people want those items already, then you're going to sell them. Even if you have shitty photos, a bad title, if people are looking for them and they're like, I can't find them anywhere, this guy has them, they're going to buy them from you. So I recommend you go watch that video, implement the 7-step plan from here to December and see how it goes. And I'm glad you're trying it out, brother. Thank you very much for watching the videos. I really hope the best for you in 2024 and beyond. Holy shit, who remembers this? K9 car alarm system with keyless entry remote. K9 Omega Electronics. It's an old school one. It's a vintage one. I bought it for $5. Sold for $44.99, $9.99 shipping. It was new old stock. After fees and everything, I brought home $39.07. So $34.07. When somebody saw me pick this up, they were like, oh, what do you want with that? All the new cars have systems already, and they're so much better than that. It was at a local thrift store, and of course, there's always somebody trying to talk shit, trying to say that they know better than you. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Let me buy it. I bought it, sold it for $44.99, $9.99 shipping, like I said. These things, though, I couldn't test it, but I would have to assume that everything worked because it was still packaged, nothing was frayed, nothing was touched, everything was still in their baggies. So I said, I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to assume that it is new, old stock. And so far, I haven't gotten any complaints, no returns, and no bad feedback. So I'm assuming the person that bought it, it worked. Thank you very much. At Miami KY4YE says, not sure if I mentioned it, but what is the overall size board that you use? He's referencing best photo setup for eBay Poshmark clothing 2024 on a budget. That's the setup that I use, that I open up and put up as a background for my clothing. And I had to put it on here because I always forget the measurements. It measures 49 inches by 73. So 49 inch wide, 73 inch high. It is an excellent way for you to save space and save money. You can do it, or you can build it for usually under $100. If not, it's a little bit over 100. And you can fold it up, put it behind the door, and it doesn't weigh anything because all it is that Pink Panther foam. It's a foam board that you cut in half basically and you make it. It's awesome. I recommend it. I'm going to link the video down below so you guys can check it out and build your own from there. Plus, I do have links in that video so you can buy everything so you don't have to be looking for stuff. Everything's already done for you. Man, I really wanted to keep this, but you know what? I got too much shit in the house. Keystone K101Z automatic 8mm film projector hard case. It was in excellent freaking condition. And that where the light comes out, it's rose gold. It was gorgeous. I bought it for $6.50. And actually, I bought it at Goodwill. They don't think that stuff like this sells, and they didn't know shit about this because they always mark up their clothing because everybody wants clothing, but they don't know about this. So I bought it for $6.50, sold it for $50, $19.99 shipping after fees and everything. I brought home $36.88. So what is that? I bought it for $6.50, so I brought home $30 in profit. That was a great thing to buy. Now, you do have to test that. All you do is plug it in, make sure that the bulb is working, because the bulbs, they're not hard to find because people still make them, like companies still make them, but they're not cheap. You got to find them with specialty stores because it's a specialty bulb that goes in there. And you got to project something onto the wall. If you don't have the reel-to-reel, like if you don't have the reels or a movie to play, then you can just project the light to the wall. Most of the time, as long as you press forward and backward and you see the reels move, not the reel itself, but the little knob that moves the reel, then you're fine. These things, man, you can throw them around and they last. In fact, they're in a hard case. So when I shipped them out, all I did was put corner posts and that's it. I didn't bubble wrap it or any of that because these hard cases are amazing. They last forever. At Gina1395 says, what do you promote at? She's referencing how to get more sales on eBay, hack the algorithm. That's a great video to watch. I don't mean hack the algorithm. There is no hack. Whoever tells you that they're hacking the algorithm, it's all bullshit. You just have to get really good at doing the basics. That's it. That's all you need. You will do well. Now, what do you promote at? 2%, 3%, 10%, and dynamic ad rate. Those are my roughly what I promote at. 2% for something that is super high sell-through rate that doesn't really need promoting, but promotions, I've noticed that, eBay will really push it out there if you promote it. So I do 2% for that. 3% for almost everything else. 5% for hats and shoes. And then 10% for clothing. That's it. Here we have Jabra Speak 510 portable Bluetooth speaker, touch voice assist. I bought it for $16. Sold for $42, $9.99 shipping after fees and everything. I brought home $30.15. So let's call it I made $14 in profit. I bought that at a pawn shop and it was new. And it was 70% off. For whatever reason, nobody wanted it. I guess it was still high price for them. So I bought it for $16 and I sold it for $42. Don't skip out on pawn shops. Some pawn shops are very high priced because they got to make their money and they're not nonprofits. So they're in the business of making money. But this is the way that pawn shops work. Once the item has been there for a certain amount of time, and every pawn shop is different, once it's dragging down their inventory like ours, like when you have stuff that's in your store for a long time, you want to get rid of, well, they do the same thing. They mark it down. Usually it's 25%, and then they'll go to like 40%, 50%, 75%, and even up to 90% because they want to get rid of it. And they can't just pull product. They don't do that. They can mark it down to $1 so you can get it the hell out of there. Or they have tent sales. And how do I know? Because I used to work at a pawn shop. And it was a great time because I learned so much about how to test jewelry. I learned about how to see if shit's fake, like brands, all types of brands. I learned on how to deal with a lot of trashy ass people that go to pawn shops, which is not fun, but whatever. I learned a lot about guns because they had weapons. Man, it was just a great time for me. But I don't belong in a place like that, and I wanted to run my own business, so I left. Next comment, at Lisa MC2217 says, great video. Would love to see your video on cleaning. I have rugby shirts with significant ring around the collar and have been struggling to get it out. It's faded but not gone, and she has a teary-eyed face. That's funny. She's referencing Texas Thrift Haul, estate sale thrift haul from San Antonio, Texas. What did I find? I think I shot that last week. Well, let me tell you this, Lisa. This is coming from a professional costume designer, which is also my cameraman. She said that sometimes if you already spot treated it and then you threw it in the wash, if you try to scrub some of it but not overdo it and you threw it in the wash, if you did all this or took it to the cleaners too and it still doesn't come off, it's not going to come off. Once it has penetrated into the fabric, some things you just can't get rid of, no matter how much you try. She has been doing this for a long time, and she always dealt with sweaty actors. And that shit, like it was sweaty, like there was rings here, and she told me to tell you that that's really how it works. This is the biggest problem that people have that they don't know is that when you, let's just say I'm wearing this today, right? And I wear it out and I get it a little bit of a stain, right? So I don't wash it out. I don't treat it or anything. I just give it somewhat of a wash and I forget to treat this and it doesn't come out. And then I iron it. Once you place heat into that stain, you're basically imprinting it onto the clothing. So you're fucked after that. So my recommendation is that I understand that rugby shirts make money and they make actually quite a bit of money. But if you are thinking about it so much, if you're doing so much work for it, maybe just point it out to the customer and tell them, hey, it's got a stain on it and that's just what it's going to be, or get rid of it. Sometimes we get bogged down with the little things that we forget that we could just focus on everything else, all the other product that we bought, and get rid of this and keep making money. Just my recommendation, man. And last but not least, this is one of my favorites. If you see these, pick these up, but make sure they work. Olympus Note Recorder DP10, personal handheld voice note recorder, tested C video. And I always put C video so they can see the video. I paid $783, sold for $21.24, $6.99. After fees and everything, I kept $20.44. So that means I brought home about $12 in profit. Let me say something about this one though. The button was getting stuck. And I told them in the video and I told them in the description, if the button wasn't stuck, that recorder sells for $48 used. It's awesome. I used it myself. It's a great recorder. You can throw them around. It works really well. And these things, people use them for taking notes, like when they're in the car, or maybe like a law office will use it to take notes. There's so many different things. Students, like for college or high school, they take notes as well. It's a great thing to buy, and you can see them everywhere. I find them all the time at thrift stores. So buy them when you can. Just make sure you test them. And the last question at the Homeless Flipper says, dang man, you do 11 hours sourcing how many times a week? You're definitely a hardworking Mexican. He is referencing the live video that I shot yesterday talking about sourcing. Sometimes I do source 11 hours a week. I don't source 11 hours all the time, but sometimes they're very long. Let's just say that I have planned only one day to source and I'm doing 10 items a day for 7 days. So I need to find 70 items. And not 70 whatever items, just to buy items. 70 items that fit my category. Like my ROI has to be there, the ADS has to be there, the STR has to be there, everything has to be there. So if all those criteria need to be met, sometimes it's going to take me forever. And really, I wake up really early. I go to, let's just say I drive to Austin, or I drive to Dallas, or to Houston, or to San Antonio, or to wherever. And I spend a shitload of time going through a bunch of thrift stores or going through garage sales if it's a weekend. I do it in the morning and then thrift stores in the afternoon. Or going through flea markets. There's so many different things. I do whatever it takes to get to my goals. And if it's an 11-hour day, it's an 11-hour day. It's not normal for me though. Usually I do, if I go out, like physically go out, get in my car and go somewhere, it's about 4 or 5 hours of thrifting. And I do it 2 or 3 times a week because those days are long and they're hard. And once you start going like clothing and electronics and you're looking at the same thing over and over again, your brain, you get kind of like, you get a headache, or you're just tired, or you get bored because you're doing the same thing over and over again. So I recommend that you break it up into smaller sections more times a week. Also, if you do that, you get to see different product because they're constantly bringing out new product. If you do it only in one day, you have to get only what there is that day. Let's just say that there's nothing, then you're not going to get shit that day. But if you go 3 times, you might get nothing, and then you get some, and then you get some. So whatever makes sense to you, do that. And that's it, everybody. Those were the top 9 items that sold in the category of electronics. Don't forget about this thing. Trust me, it will save your life, especially when you're like me, out and about with your computer, with your iPad, with your phone, with everything in the car. And of course, I linked it down below. To continue to support the channel, you can always buy a shirt a hat, or a logo sticker from the store below. And for further reference, I'm making new, exciting, and fun shirts so that you guys can check them out. They're going to be new graphic tees. They're going to be coming out in about 2 weeks. So give me some time because I'm finishing up the logos or like the graphic prints so you guys can check them out. You can also become a member of the Resolutions Posse and enjoy perks like member shoutouts, advanced video viewing, and members only live streams depending on your level. And it can cost you less than gas station coffee. As always, give this video a like, share this with anybody that needs to see it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already so you don't miss awesome videos like this. See you in the next one. Peace. And cheers. It's coffee. In between this video, I had to go and heat it up because, damn, this thing gets cold fast. What the hell? Pinche café frío. No vale madre. Just had a barbacoa. Do I have something in my teeth? Itchy. You know when you have, for guys anyways, you know how sometimes you shave and everything, right? And there's one hair that sticks up and is touching you. It makes you want to scratch. Oh, man. I hate that.